All right, Coca Cola has just released their earnings report, and with their earnings per share, they've beaten by 3 cents, and revenue another beat by 175 million. Although, as you can see now, the stock is still trading down throughout the day. We'll be taking a look into the financials of the company and seeing how they're tracking over the last couple of quarters. And just to show you how many shares I hold in the company, so currently 203 shares at an average price of $51. Got a total equity of $12,970 with a total profit of just over or just under $2,500. Current yield at the moment is 2.88%. And I've been holding this company for at least 4 years, just dollar cost averaging into the market. I feel like they're probably the most consistent dividend company that you'll find around. Has moved to seeking alpha there, moved to the dividend history. They've been paying a dividend for 60 years consecutively, but 60 of those years, they've increased it every single year, which is quite impressive there. Now, if we look down to the dividend growth, right, this is every single year of those 60 years, and with that annual payout growth rate, that's how much they've been increasing their dividend every year. So 6%, 5%, 5%, 2%, 4% for the last one, being a compound annual growth rate, of 4.76%, which is extremely impressive. So if you're looking for a company that would, slowly just pay you, a nice dividend over time, you hold this company for 10, 15, 20 years, I think you'll see that the returns that you'll get will be quite impressive. All right, but here we are with the statements of income. All right, so revenues, right, just reported under 11 billion, right, which is up by 5%. The gross profit just over 6.5 billion, which is up by 4%. And moving down to the earnings per share, reported 72 cents, which is up by 12%, which was a beat from last quarter, which is great news. All right, now moving over to the balance sheet, right, looking straight at the cash and cash equivalents with the short-term investments. So as you can see, the last December quarter, you're looking at just over $10.5 billion. That's now up to $13.1 billion, which is great news there. All right, so what we're looking over here is the 5-year cumulative total share owner return. So Coca Cola being in the red, you can see how they're tracking over the last 5 years, and their peer group being the dashed line just underneath, and the S&P 500 index in the dotted line, which showed like a massive increase and then slightly down. But in the end of it, basically, you can see, Coca-Cola still is on top at the end of the day. Their competitors will be, companies like, Monster, Pepsi, and the like. So a great chart to see how Coca-Cola is tracking, against every other entity, which is really good. All right, so here we can see Coca-Cola's, biggest 5 goals that they're trying to work towards. So first one being replenishment of water. Second one being packaging. Obviously, all companies are trying to, recycle most of their products just to be sustainable. Reducing added sugar, and this is just to provide a little bit more options for, the users that don't want to exactly take all that sugar. Climate, they're trying to reduce all their emissions and etc. And then peoples and communities. Now, what I found interesting about this one is that all they've got there is 50% led by women globally by 2030. Right, they want to have Coca-Cola, half men, half women, which I thought was quite odd, and 39% women in senior leadership roles in 2021. So what we're seeing there is basically trying to get a balance between men and women within the workforce, with having a disregard to putting the best person in the job for that role, which is sad to see, but you can't always win there. Right, some interesting things that I've seen coming out of Europe, Middle East and Africa in regards to Coke is they're working on zero-word campaigns. They've got the Keel Clip paperboard packaging, more for sustainability, recycling, etc. And then in the Asia Pacific, they've got a zero sugar campaign happening here, and then also the labelless bottles. They're becoming quite popular as well. All right, so this is now looking into the portfolio of Coke. Obviously, you've got Sprite, Schweppes, Fanta, Fresca, and all that sort of stuff. But there's a couple of things that I didn't even know. They've got this body armor drink I don't know exactly which countries that sell that. I think it's predominantly America, and then you've also got Costa, which is coffee. So they're tapping into the coffee market, and also Fairlife, which is more of your dairy option there. And then like a lot of juices, orange juice and all that sort of stuff. So bit of a look into the portfolio there, but overall they've got 200 bottling partners, 950 production facilities, 30 million customer retail outlets, and then that's how much servings they're doing per day. Right, so this is Coca Cola's total market cap. So as you can see, in 2017, they've moved from $650 billion all the way to $1.3 trillion here. Predominantly in 2022, this grey one here is hot beverages. So you can see they've made a massive push, and also in this emerging sector here. So that's emerging category represents alcohol ready to drink beverages. So things like the Jack Daniels promotion that you've probably seen recently. But the portfolio breaks down into 8 to 10% emerging, with hot beverages being 5 to 6%, and then also energy is the top 3 there. All right, so now we're going to break down by region of how much which region's consuming. So this is North America. So they've got 320 million consumers, and they've got a total market cap of $350 billion, which equates to, in 2022, the net revenues was just over $15 billion, which is 36% of their total portfolio with all regions. But as you can see here, so with the hot beverage sort of sector is taking up most of their market share, which is quite interesting. I would have really thought that it would have been, the original Coke drink, but there you can see, Coca Cola expanding in different sort of sectors there. All right, moving into Europe, Middle East, and Africa. All right, so they have 2.1 billion consumers. Net revenues being $7.6 billion, which works out to be 18% of their total market share by region. And there you can see, compared to North America, the hot beverages sector is a lot larger, with their emerging sector being here, like the alcohol production being a lot smaller. So you can see the different regions prefer different things. All right, so moving on to Latin America. All right, so 525 million consumers. In 2022, it was reported $4.9 billion that their revenues were created, which is only 11%. So this is probably their smallest region in terms of usage and market. But difference there, so a lot smaller on the hot beverages side. They prefer just like the original Cokes in Latin America. And also, their sparkling sort of waters and sparkling drinks were a little bit more than the previous one as well. Now, lastly, Asia Pacific. This is by far their biggest region in terms of market share. So they've got 3.3 billion consumers, which is ridiculous. $5.5 billion, right, which is just over Latin being 13% of their total portfolio there. Now, Asia Pacific, obviously, this is probably the biggest market share of warm beverages, but also the smallest in terms of Coke there, which is quite interesting. All right, so there you have it. Just a little bit of a dive into Coca Cola and seeing how they're performing with their financials and their presentation there. Good news overall with the earnings beat and the revenue beat. And just the overall look of their balance sheet and their income statement. Although, when you look at the stock price, it's still trading down over the day. Given their stock price is, trading down, that's only going to give me an opportunity to buy more shares at a cheaper price. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps out the channel, and I'll catch us next time.